Excellent. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special assembly where we welcome back our very own 8th graders from the trip to Israel. Let me say that Ruti and I had a truly inspiring trip. It was great to spend time with our 8th graders. It was great to spend time in Eretz Yisrael and Medinat Yisrael. And we wanted to share a little bit with you about that trip so you can get a taste from the kids of what that experience was like. I know that some of you are looking ahead to the times when you're going to go to Israel. So this might be an opportunity for you to get a small window into all the exciting things that are happening. Okay. So I want to share a little bit about my own experience, which was really very special. You get a chance to see our 8th graders in ways you don't see them. In ways you don't see them during the school year. To watch their participation, to watch their energy and the fun that they had with all the other students from the other schools. And you'll hear a little bit more about that. One area of the trip that I really enjoyed was the trip on our last day to the Gush Etzion area of Israel. Gush Etzion is an area that we haven't always visited. And what I really enjoyed about it was to learn about both the excitement and the inspiration for how that area was developed, and at the same time to recognize that even as we might feel deeply connected to some of the historic events that went down, that happened there, and our mother Rachel from the Torah is said to be buried in that area. It's still a place that means so much to so many other people, and therefore makes it a really complicated place. But we had some really good conversations about that. We met Israeli Jews and Palestinians who both view that land as important to their people. And for me, that was a very inspiring part of the trip. Of course, inspiring as much as the inspiration I got from our 8th graders. So I'm going to pass it over to Allison, who is going to, I think, kick off a slideshow to give you a taste of what our 2 weeks was like. And we'll be back after that for our 8th graders to share with you some of their own personal special moments.
היא מרגישה שנפתח לה מזל, פגשה אחד גבר ורז'ל, והיא תלחש לו, מה היא תלחש לו? קח אותי על הגמל. I'm your beauty, you're my beast, welcome to the Middle East. תל אביב, יא חביבי תל אביב, תסתכל כמה לירדים מסביב, עושים לי היי היי בלילה וואי וואי, וסחטן על תל אביב. תל אביב יא חביבי תל אביב, תסתכל כמה לירדים מסביב, עושים לי היי היי בלילה וואי וואי, וסחטן על תל אביב. זורחת שמש בעיר הלבנה, ונועצים בו מבט מכל פינה, והיא יודעת, מה היא יודעת, הוא יברח לה עוד שנייה. יורד לי, ולא יורד לי, ולא יורד לי. תל אביב, יא חביבי תל אביב, תסתכל כמה לירדים מסביב, עושים לי היי היי בלילה וואי, וסחטן על תל אביב. תל אביב, יא חביבי תל אביב, תסתכל כמה לירדים מסביב, עושים לי היי היי בלילה וואי וואי, וסחטן על תל אביב.
Okay, we're going to share now our other slideshow. How do I do share? Share screen. Middle. Second. Okay. Maya. Boy.
One of the most memorable moments of the trip was definitely climbing down Har Arbel. It took us about 2 hours to climb down the mountain. At one point, we were holding onto a metal wire connecting to the mountain, and we had to maneuver ourselves down. It was absolutely terrifying. There was nothing connecting us to the mountain, just our grip to the wire. I was trying not to look down. After 20 minutes of holding on for dear life, it was a normal and easy hike. This picture shows Zach, Joey, Ariel, and Josh, a kid from a different school, and me in the middle of the hike.
My favorite moment of the trip was Yom Ha'atzmaut on Ben Yehuda Street. So this photo is me, I'm all the way in the back, Zach here, and then some other kids you might not recognize. Those are kids from other schools who we went on the trip with, new friends that we met on the trip. So we went partying up and down Ben Yehuda Street, dancing, people were spraying us with silly string. Everyone was super happy and like patriotic. Everyone's like, yeah, Israel, woohoo. And we went to a concert after and it was really fun.
During the Israel trip, we had many different activities. One of the activities was Oneg Shabbos. Oneg Shabbos is celebrating Shabbat with sweet cakes and candy after Friday night dinner. For our Oneg Shabbos, we were asked to buy something for 15 shekels or less. It had to be parv and creative. So my idea was to buy a raw fish from the shuk. Me and 6 other kids called Maxim, Dvir, Blake, Zach, Gavi, and Ariel decided to buy the fish and name it Flopper. Later, we gave it to our chaperones, and while they were setting up the activity, they saw the fish and thought it was really funny. Then the story spread, and all the kids thought that it was really funny.
We thought it was something very fishy.
Super fishy.
The streets of Israel are home to an estimated 2 million stray cats. 2 of these cats I happened to befriend. The first of these cats was a female that I named Persimmon. Persimmon liked to hang out in the courtyard of the first hotel that we stayed at. She was a very snuggly cat, and if I sat down next to her, she would curl up in my lap and nuzzle me. The other cat that I played with was at a mall in Arad, which is a city in the desert. Liam named this cat Litterbox. Litterbox was also a girl, and while she didn't want to sit in my lap, she did like getting stroked on the neck, and she's the one who's in the photo. Persimmon and Litterbox were my favorite parts of Israel, and they were very cute to cuddle with. When we were in Jerusalem, we went to the water tunnel in Ir David. The water tunnel was used a long time ago for when the Jews were fighting against the Syrians and was used to bring water from the springs of Gihon to the city of David on the hill. In 1883, a 13-year-old boy was playing hide and seek and decided to go hide in the spring. He found a hole in the spring, which was the entrance to the tunnel, and there was also some writing in very ancient Hebrew. The boy later showed his dad and a famous historian of that time, and they were able to dig up the tunnel. They found out that this tunnel was built by King Hezekiah in 700 BCE.
I'm reading for Liam. He's not here today. During the trip, our group stayed at a kibbutz, Mashabeh Sadeh, in the Negev desert for 2 nights. It was really cool being able to get a taste of what it's like living in a kibbutz. Also, there are these peacocks that just strolled around the kibbutz making very high-pitched noises, which were funny at first, but then they just got really annoying. But the peacocks were cute. We were at the kibbutz during Yom HaZikaron, so we were able to join the whole community in the remembrance ceremony for fallen soldiers. Every kibbutz has a different tradition, but at this one, the 7th and 8th graders of the kibbutz get to run the ceremony, reading speeches, holding up signs, lowering the flag, and so much more. Overall, the whole kibbutz experience is really nice and really special.
We spent 2 Shabbats in Israel. And during the day before Shabbat, we would usually do various activities. Mostly we would walk around in the area that we were. At around 3 to 5 o'clock, we would be able to have visitors, people who were in Israel at the time that we knew. They were able to come and hang out with us for around 2 hours. During Shabbat dinner, we would do kiddush, which included blessings and washing our hands from Tilat Yadayim. I really appreciated the opportunity to spend Shabbat dinner with friends. After we ate, everyone got some time to hang out in their rooms before we went to sleep. That's it.
Okay, so I had a lot of enjoyable moments on our trip, but one of the best parts is when we stayed in the Bedouin tents. So the Bedouin tents are these like big tents in the middle of the Negev desert. The Bedouins are indigenous people of southern Israel and the Negev, and they refer to themselves as the Nakab. So they're like communities engaged in animal herding and agriculture. So the Bedouin tents that we stayed at gave us the feeling of living as a Bedouin, from feeding camels, sleeping on the floor, and eating on cushions on the floor, and much more. So in this picture, all the boys from the entire trip, from all the different schools, were just in a pile, just hanging out and just like lying on each other. And this is the guy who took the selfie, Daniel. He was our madrich, the counselor, one of the counselors of the trip. So he took the selfie, and it was like a really fun time. Yeah, thank you.
During the 2 weeks the 8th grade was in Israel, we went to a few very interesting museums that were different from museums in America. The first of those was Yad Vashem, a Holocaust museum in Jerusalem. Not only was it incredibly large, for someone to see the whole thing, it would take 3 whole days. We also had 2 tour guides to help us through, and they showed us many unique posters and items from the Shoah. Another unique museum we went to was a virtual reality experience about the history of the Kotel. Experienced historians and engineers worked together to create a whole virtual world of what the Kotel would have looked like in ancient times. The 8th graders also went to a few museums that were with videos, but with a twist. Another museum about the founding of Israel allowed us to share our opinions about what the early leaders should have done to create Israel safely by voting with remotes to see who voted what.
One of my favorite parts of the trip was when we went kayaking in the Jordan River. Each group needed 6 people, including at least one chaperone. Me, Maya, and Ofer didn't have a group to go on the kayaks with, so we went with 2 madrichim named Daniel and Adva, and a kid from another school named Nadav. Our groups left last, but we soon caught up to the other groups and eventually passed all the other groups except for the first one. We were head to head with the first group for a while, but eventually passed them and got to the finish line first. Victory felt amazing, but what was better were the connections I made along the way. This is Ofer's, but Ofer was not able to be here. The first train station is a train station, as the name suggests, but it no longer operates as a train station. It currently operates as an outdoor mall with small jewelry and souvenir shops and food. When we went there, there was a huge variety of food such as ice cream, candy, pizza, and pasta. Essentially all the things found in an outdoor mall. We went to eat there for dinner on Motzei Shabbat, and there was music and lights. It was essentially a boardwalk built on a train station.
During the Israel trip, we went to the hotel 2 different times. The first time we went was for morning tefillah, and the second time was for Kabbalat Shabbat on Friday night. Going to the hotel for Kabbalat Shabbat was the most fun I've ever had praying in my life. I mean, it wasn't exactly praying, but it was close enough. A lot of the boys in Bayachad and many high schoolers, college students, and other adults were dancing at the hotel while singing Shabbat songs. After we did that for a while, the boys from Bayachad went to a different group of people who were not too far away from the first group. This group of people were doing different dances and singing as loud as they could. This is a great way to make Kabbalah Shabbat a much more fun and meaningful experience, rather than just sitting and quietly singing songs.
Okay, I hope that everybody got an amazing idea of what the trip was like. Just like Gary said at the beginning, I also had an amazing time traveling with this beautiful group of people. They were so fun and entertaining. I think every day was memorable for me. A couple of times were more memorable. Definitely the beach at Tel Aviv and spending time at the sea. And then another special moment for me was on Shabbat in Yerushalayim, taking a group of my students to the Italian synagogue and sharing with them a little bit of my culture and my heritage with them, and also seeing some of my friends. Okay, Gan, are you there? Show me, where's Gan? Yeah, Gan, look who came back with us. Do you see who came back? Can you see? Give me a hands up. Give me, yeah. Echo went all the way to Israel, and now he's back, and he's going to come back to kindergarten, to your class, to say hi and spend the rest of the school year with you. What do you guys want to say? What do you say? Goodbye?
Bye, Echo.
Bye, Echo. We'll miss you. We love you.
Yerushalayim, Shana Haba, Yerushalayim, Shana Haba, Yerushalayim, Shana Haba, Yerushalayim, Hallelujah, Shana Haba, Shana Haba, Yerushalayim, Shana Haba, Shana Haba, Yerushalayim. Shana Haba, Yerushalayim, Hallelujah. Shana Haba, Yerushalayim, Hallelujah. Shana Haba, Yerushalayim. All right. I want to say one last thing before we close off, which is, I know that our 7th graders are waiting anxiously to have the possibility to go to Israel next year, and we are looking forward to joining you on that trip. And when we sing Lashana Haba B'Yerushalayim, not only are we talking about all the Jewish people, but we are talking specifically about our next year our present 7th graders who next year will be our 8th graders and hopefully will be going to Israel. So, on that note, we wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Please come up to the 8th graders or to Ruti and me and ask us questions about our trip that you didn't hear about or things that are on your mind. And I wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom.
Bye.
You got